Hello everybody, students and also those who are following me online. Please subscribe so that you can follow my lessons in French and other European languages. For now, we continue with French. And like I said, we were dealing with what we call conjugation because we were actually working on what Mark used, what was used when Mark was introducing himself. So the verbs, as we remember, he used the verb s'appeler, which is to be called, and then he used the other verb he used was the verb avoir in order to say his age. And then after that, there's the verb. We use there's the verb aller. So aller is the next verb after avoir, aller. And then we are going in this series, we are going to see the verb aller and the verb jouer, to play, because jouer comes after the verb aller, because you say je vais à l'école dans mon quartier, and he says he's going to school in his estate. So, as we said, we are going to look at the things or the elements that were used in order to make that series of Mark introducing himself. To those who are following my course using my book, we have gone through Mark. You have learned how to introduce yourself. You have counted, and I've told you to go to YouTube and to count and to continue going to YouTube and to practice. So whenever we are going to meet in class next time, I want you to know how to count. I want you to know the months of the year, days of the week, how to introduce yourself. And now I'm even showing you how to make sentences by actually changing the verbs according to the persons. So the persons, I talked about personal pronouns. You have to understand what are personal pronouns. Persons, personal pronouns, you know them. They are je, tu, il, elle, vous, nous, vous allez, il, ILS, elle, LLES. So you know the personal pronouns. Always remember that. So as we continue with conjugation, and I already told you what the word conjugation means. Yeah, it refers, like I said before, to the changing of verbs for persons, number, tense, mood. It's also called a verbal paradigm. So don't worry about such words like verbal paradigm. It's just for categorizing things. But what it actually means is that when you take a verb and you take a person, that is, if you take je or tu and so on and so forth, and so forth, it means the verbs are going to change their form. Now, like I said, this verb, aller, is a very irregular verb. It is the only irregular verb. Put that in your head. It is the only irregular verb that ends with er in French. The verb to go, aller, is very irregular. It's the only irregular verb that ends with er. All the verbs in French that end with er are regular verbs, and you'll find out why we mean regular verbs and irregular verbs. So irregular, why is it irregular? Because what is irregular? There's what is regular and then what is irregular. So what is regular? It's, there's like the same rule. It follows like a rule. But irregular, it's doesn't follow really a rule. So what I mean is you have to, this verb, it's unique. It's aller is the one verb. So actually it's irregular because it form completely changes. It is very irregular. That's why when you start to say je, you have to say je vais. You see, it has changed completely from aller to vais. Je vais. So repeat after me. Je vais. So je vais, that is I go. And then you see this. Then if you come to tu, you say, it says tu vas. So repeat after me. Tu vas. Tu vas. So you see also there it changes. And then when you get that, it and actually to verb means you go. And remember also the rules how you use to. Always remember how to use to and how to use vous, because there's vous singular, then there's vous plural. Because the vous plural, when it is singular, it is vous, it is formal. So remember those rules, please go with those rules. When we are going to do an exam, I'll be asking you about the rules, and I'll be asking you if you understand how to use this these personal pronouns properly. You have to know how to use them properly. So let's continue and repeat after me. It is when it is he goes, it is il va. Il va. If it is she goes, it is elle va. Elle va. You see there also, it has completely changed. Then we get to nous. So nous is the first person but plural. Nous allons. Nous allons. So you realize, like I've told you before, whenever the consonant S meets the following element or the following word, and the word starts with a vowel, you have to join the S and the vowel. So that's why you have to pronounce nous allons. You will never say nous allons. If you say nous allons in French, that does not exist. It is always nous allons. So repeat after me, nous allons, and it means we go. Same thing applies also to vous allez, because there's a vous. The vous is you. It ends with an S. Then the verb to go, aller there. You see, aller, it ends with an EZ. It starts with a vowel. So you have to join. You have to say vous allez. You will never say vous allez. You will say vous allez. So you repeat after me, vous allez. Vous allez. So it means you go. So that's the plural. That is you go, you plural. Only a you, but plural. You have many. And here, last but not least, ils vont, they go. Ils vont, they go. And if it is they, that is they masculine. And then if it is they feminine, it is elles vont. Elles vont. Always notice that L, ES is never pronounced and il, S is never pronounced, and that, but it's written to so that to indicate that it's the plural. It means they, because IL simply without an S is a singular, is the third person singular. So repeat after me this last part. Ils vont. Ils vont. Elles vont. Elles vont. Okay, so learn to conjugate that verb aller. That verb is used everywhere, always in French. It is also used to make what you call the near future. But most important use of this verb is that you should realize is that in French you don't say how are you, comment êtes-vous. No, you don't say that comment êtes-vous. You say comment. Comment means how. Comment is written C-O-M-M-E-N-T, that means how, and then aller, the verb, allez-vous. So normally when it is inversed, that is you put the verb before the person, it makes a question, comment allez-vous, and then you have to join the T of comment with the vowel, aller. So you say comment allez-vous, allez-vous, you've an inversed. You put the verb before vous. Comment allez-vous? So repeat after me. Comment allez-vous? Comment allez-vous means how are you? And normally, I want you, my students, I want you to write how do you reply comment allez-vous in the comment section. So if those who are following, I will know if you are following. I want to see you writing those things in the comment section. And you make me a sign to know who has replied. Comment allez-vous? I want you to reply it in the comment section. I want to see if you have already, because I know we have already done this. Also, how to say how are you in French. And okay, in order for me to finish, like I said, aller is a very irregular verb, and it is used to form the future proche, which means near future. For example, you repeat after me, vous allez. So it means you are going. Vous allez faire. That is another verb that we are going to do. The verb faire, it is also it is an irregular verb also. It is everywhere in French. Faire is to do. Vous allez faire la vaisselle après le dîner. So this means you're going to do the dishes after dinner. So it is the near future. It is the future, but it's just near. It's next to the present. So you repeat again. Vous allez faire la vaisselle après le dîner. Repeat again after me. Vous allez faire la vaisselle après le dîner. Repeat again. I'm going to go slowly this time. Vous allez faire la vaisselle après le dîner. You're going to do the dishes after the dinner. Thank you. So as we continue with conjugation, like I said, we continue with conjugation, and I said in this series we are going to see, we are going to see the two verbs. It's the verb aller and the verb jouer, because Mark actually he said afterward, je joue dans le parc avec mes amis. He talked about playing. So that's the next verb after the verb aller. We've just seen the verb aller. We are going now to see the verb jouer. So it is there in image. I hope you can see it clearly. So it's the verb to play. So this verb, we are going to look at it also, just like we looked at it. We looked at the verb aller. You see the verb aller. When you looked at it, we said the verb aller. There's one thing we said about the verb aller. It ends with er, but it is an irregular verb. And if you remember what I said about regular and irregular verbs, I said regular verbs that end with er, because not all regular verbs end with er. You will see that as we will see that much later. But most verbs in French that end with er are regular verbs. Not most, but all verbs except the verb aller. So that one you have to remember. I repeat, you have to remember that aller is the only irregular verb that ends with er. All the verbs that end with er are regular. So jouer, the verb to play, is a regular verb. So actually regular, why do you call them regular verbs? Because if you see how to conjugate one, you can conjugate the rest of the regular verbs. And you're lucky, because in French, majority of verbs are regular and they end with er. The majority of the verbs, let's say almost 70% or 80%. So once you know how to conjugate one regular verb, we will know how to conjugate the others. It will be easy now, because we are going to practice how to conjugate much later, because for the moment when you begin, you have to go slowly so that you can try to understand how different elements are joined together in French so that they can make a sentence. See, that's the most important thing. How to join elements together, different elements, different words, you join them, but these words actually they're different elements, and in French normally we have names for them. So for example, when we call them we say personal pronouns. So the je, for example, here is je joue. So je is the first person singular. Je joue. Repeat after me. Je joue is the first person singular. It means I play. So je is the personal, is a personal pronoun. And then joue is the verb when it has been conjugated. You see here we have removed the R. So it is je joue. Then let's get to tu. So it is tu joues. You see we have removed the R, but we added something. We added an S. So it means actually now this one shows you that it is for tu. So you see it has changed. But you see, because it is regular verb, there's no much changes compared to the verb aller. You've seen the verb aller, the way it changes. It changed from aller to je vais. So that's the idea. You have to learn the idea that conjugation, the verb changes. But the regular, we call them regular verbs, they don't change much, because you will realize that, well, you remove the R. For the tu, you add an S. For the je, you just remove the R, you add nothing. For the il, joue, repeat. Il joue, repeat after me. Or elle joue, repeat after me. Elle joue, you realize you just remove the R also. Then, and it means he or she plays. Then we come to nous. So nous is the first person plural. So when you look at you look at the verb now. You removed this time. You removed actually two elements. You remove er. You remove two letters. You removed er, but you added o and s, so it becomes nous jouons. Nous jouons. Yeah? Nous jouons. So it means we play. Yeah? So then we come to vous. Then you see here also it's just the r that has been removed and a z has been added. You will see that in most verbs, whenever there's the ez, actually it will always be vous. It's going to correspond to vous. And then you come to il. Joue. So here also you realize that it is only the r that has been removed, but the nt has been replaced. So nt, you'll always realize that it ends with il, ils, or e-double-l-e-s. It is to show that it is they, it is the plural. So here, if you repeat after me, it is il joue, ama, elle joue. So let's see this verb one more time. So repeat after me. Je joue. Je joue. Tu joues. Tu joues. Il joue. Il joue. Elle joue. Elle joue. Nous jouons. Nous jouons. Vous jouez. Vous jouez. Il joue. Il joue. Elle joue. You will notice that il joue plural, that is they, and il joue singular. There's no difference of pronunciation. You know, it's what we call, these are what we call homophones. Homophones are things that sound the same, but they are not written the same. They don't correspond to the same thing. So you see, you say il joue, there's no difference. Even if there's ILS, you will just pronounce it is il. Even L, it is L. Joue. Yeah? The difference is only when it is written. That's when you'll notice the difference. So be very keen in French. Always be on the lookout on how things are written. Some things are written the same, but they're not pronounced the same. Others are not written the same, but they're pronounced the same. So you will see these things as you go along, and you be careful, because in French, actually every detail matters. You have to keep your eye, watch out for every single detail, because you have the gender rules, you have the conjugations, you have also the pronunciations, what you call the homophones, the homographs. Homophones are things that sound the same, but they're probably not meaning the same thing. Homographs are that written the same, but they do not sound the same. So you keep on going to my YouTube, subscribe. Because for my students that are not, subscribe to my channel, follow those, because you have to take it seriously, especially the Kenyan students. I'm talking about the Kenyan students, because this book of mine, it is designed for people who are English speaking, because I translate almost everything in English. But it will reach a point where now, if you begin to speak French, I will be explaining to you things in French but not in English. I urge my students, the ones that are in France, to please learn French, because you will use it here. You are in a French environment. Everything here is in French. The news, everywhere you go, if you go to the supermarket, everything is in French. Everybody is speaking French. So it is you to make the effort, because you're in a French-speaking country. You have to go out there, try to even speak to French-speaking people, look at the news, watch television, and so on and so on. Be curious, and you are going to improve very, very fast, because the environment is very suitable for you to actually accelerate your learning. Thank you.